driving through the Glodwick estate of Oldham.
Yeah.
I've said how shit it is. I've said what a lot of trouble. So someone said, after reading all this, I can see you're a proper fan of Oldham and its people, as you have nothing better but to talk about the negatives which occur in every area, blatantly covering the fact that we've made more of an impact to the community in the past 10, 15 years than what could be achieved being born here because he's an immigrant. Where's that coming from me, that?
Yeah, sorry, that was me. It's on my phone kicking in. Sorry about that.
That was me. Grief, can you hear me now? Right. Thank you. So, someone's commented on one of my YouTube videos, Mohammed bin Nayal, and is going on that I'm slagging off the Glodwick area of Oldham. I've mentioned it many a times. Gavin Opler were killed there. Just 2 years ago, we had four Somalians in a car run down a 22-year-old Pakistani lad and stab him to death at 3:15 p.m. in the afternoon, right next to a primary school and another mosque or some kind of temple. So it's a broad daylight. And that's obviously ethnicity on ethnicity. You're going on about two deaths that happened worlds apart. So Gavin Opler was kicked to death in 2001, and the Pakistani lad was killed just a couple of years ago. Not just that, I've gone on about loads of different kinds of trouble in the Glodwick area over the years. Alexandra Park next to it, there's trouble with people being attacked there all the time. The kind of people who come from Glodwick, the Glodwick area is also the heroin capital of Oldham, probably the heroin capital of the north. I've gone on about this many times. So Mohammed Denial, look at my other videos before you comment your bullshit, please. Right, before you comment your bullshit. I've talked about being a no-go zone. If you're a white person, you would not walk through that area with your girlfriend after a night out. You used to be able to, but couldn't do that now without getting some kind of shit.
So he sounds like he's in denial of these things that happen. But you know what the thing is? If you was of that race and you lived in that area, no, you probably find it's fine. You would probably see, oh, I don't see any problem. I've lived here all my life. I ain't got a problem. Yeah, you don't have the problem because you've segregated your community, so you will be accepted. But what about the people that don't live in there? What reception do they get? So it's easy to say that.
Exactly. It said there's white people, and there might be, but they're all well known. But like I said, you could not walk through that estate with your missus after a night out. You can do in other places in Oldham, but you wouldn't do because you get some shit.
Yeah.
So it was going on about proof. I've already talked about like the gang violence in Oldham. It's not particular one ethnicity. My sister's house was attacked early last year. And just recently I found out another girl who's like my sister's age, who's got a family, her house was attacked in the same way with a weapon off 15 to 20 odd year olds. There weren't grown men doing this. I've talked about that kind of violence, and that's all over Oldham, and it's not one particular ethnicity. And the attack on my sister's house and the attack on the other girl's house were done by white and or mixed race or black gangsters, like sort of. They weren't like Muslims or anything like that. I've just put the link in anyway. I'm hoping that he'll come on and watch the show. Obviously, I've gone on also about going on in Oldham. The crime rate on the increase across the board. I've mentioned that in Oldham many a times. Last year, one of the highest in knife crime in the country, top 10. The year before, they had the highest violent crime increase in country. I'll get some links up for all these figures. I just want, because the guys obviously, what people do, they look at one video on my finger, then they'll make a comment, and then he's called me a muppet, and I have not been like that with him streets.
No.
I haven't. And if anyone wants to see how I am, just look at the MDL video. Even though in the face of being threatened, kind of stuff that were coming out, I still asked nice questions. I never threatened him back. I never said that if he's going to shoot me, come on, do it or whatever. I don't talk like that. I just don't do that shit. That's why I can get away with. A few people said on that MDL video, they said, I can't believe you were so calm and you didn't headbutt him. Or I'm that kind of person. I'm 52 years old. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's what we've got to talk.
Is he okay? So is he? Obviously, I haven't had a conversation yet, but by the sounds of it, he's trying to deny this. But this is facts. If you're reading from facts and you're reading from historic data from the courts, you live around the area, you'll see stuff that the mainstream media won't see. So if we're seeing the stuff in Oldham like what we do in the mainstream, well, you can probably add 100% on top of that of what actually happened, where the locals actually see it. Can he actually deny that with a straight face?
Well, I don't know, but he's saying that.
Because personally, he shouldn't be denying it. He should be saying, okay, yeah, but this is what we can do to improve it. Would that not be better coming from him? And instead of calling you a muppet, wouldn't it be better to say, yeah, I agree with the violence and the stuff that's happened, but you know what, John? And because you're in the area, do you think this could be done? This instead of going on the defensive and you know, and then automatically now going on the defensive and calling out names. Well, no, tell me what's wrong. We can talk about it. And then maybe if you're as passionate to put a YouTube message like that, maybe we can actually go forward and actually change something or make it different on this.
He goes on afterwards. He says, because I said, what's the positives? Because I'm going on about the negatives.
Yeah.
Positive youth centres have been built, new mosques, more Asians are being educated and graduating, more Asians.
Yeah, but that's for themselves. That's not for society, though.
No, in jobs or self-employed. Sports-wise, we have a few up-and-coming boxers. Yeah, they do. But that doesn't mean nothing. He hasn't talked about the greater implications, the greater circle of not just that area. I want to try and get up the link now to a particular case. Was 4 boys about 4 years ago done for I've had these links up a few times, done for kidnapping, torture and sexual assault on another lad. These lads were 15 and this lad were about 15. This lad was non-Muslim, he was mixed race, West India.
So he's going along the sort of subject of, we're doing well, we've got another mosque. Well, that's for your own community, not for the wider. Oh yeah, we've got this opening, but that's for your community, not for the wider. So again, you're emphasizing the fact that it's okay for us to live there because we're in the community, but you're not actually saying what it's like for the further afield. So he's actually mentioning exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's mad because like, he obviously hasn't looked at the rest of my videos, because what I did tell him is that I blame the Labour Party. I've said many a times on here, I've said that I believe it's Labour's failings of not dealing with situations in the first place. I explained about how my dad warned Oldham Council that they were creating these ghettos. The ghettos came, we had the riots. I've said this is all, there's empirical evidence for all this. I've said it many times. So he's obviously just looking at one comment, and I get that a lot on my YouTube video. They'll look at one video and just comment. I think he's Muslim. His name is, but his name is a bit dodgy. Mohammed Daniel. So I don't know, but I'm just presuming here now. I'm just totally presuming that he's Muslim. And the way he's talked about more mosques being built, that's even more so. And they have done some of them things, but the thing is,
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't.
they're doing the mosque not for the community wider, for the people in that area. They're doing
In
it
that
so they can.
area.
They're doing it for
To,
themselves. So that doesn't answer the question though. If these are happening in this area and the demographic is this part, and you can see it from a different point of view, the reason why he thinks it's all great is because everything is tailored for his people in his religion to be done in that area. So yes, it will be fine for him, but that does not necessarily mean it's fine for everybody. So
yeah,
in
of
a sense,
course.
he's answering his own question. He's saying, "Yeah, but we've got more mosques." Yeah, but again, but then how does that help everyone else?
Yeah. And like I said, he said I was going on about them two crimes that are worlds apart, but and in that particular area. But there's been other crimes I've
Yeah,
talked about and the crimes in general. But the thing he's not getting is a kind of immigration we've had into Oldham. It's shit immigration.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's the kind of people that are barbaric, and they are. We was in my ex-girlfriend Tracy was in a place called Alexandra Park, and this is right next to the Blodick area. This, and we're Pokemoning because that's what I do. I Pokemon with my two phones. Anyone who knows me well knows I do the Pokemon.
I've never used
So
that app yet.
yeah, we've come to this area and we're going around Pokemon, and there's a lad already in the area with his son. His son's about 9. The next thing, his son comes up to him, and he's a white lad. Dad, this lad's hit me. So it mentioned to us, and we've gone up to where the other lad is who's supposed to have hit him. Right now, I've met this guy who's Pokemon. I've met his son several times. Yeah, lovely lad, lovely young lad. He don't spit. He don't swear out like that. He's just really nice kid. And this Asian kid had just hit him for no reason at all. And when it come down to it, we parted it. We said, I said to this lad, so what are you doing? So is he just telling lies? Yeah, he is. So when we went on about it a bit more, this Asian kid snapped, and then he had to be held back. So this Asian kid's about 10. He had to be held back by a kid who were bigger because he wanted to go and attack the lad's dad. You know what I mean? This is a kind of barbaric attitude that they have in that area. So this is a 10-year-old wanting to have a go at a grown adult when the grown adult weren't being nasty to him.
No.
He weren't swearing at him. He just said, look, why have you hit my son? He's lying. Well, my son doesn't lie. And his son stood there. No, honestly, Dad, he hit me. For no reason, he just come up to me and smacked me. And this area is well known for this kind of behaviour against non-Muslims in that area.
Yeah.
Also, this Alexandra Park, a few years ago, my ex-girlfriend's granddaughter, the police phoned her up. I was at the house. They found a granddaughter in this Alexandra Park with another girl who was about 14, and the other girl who was 14 were drunk. Because this is one of the things I always used to go on about, mate, in the area, is the young ones drinking beer, especially under 15, because I knew they did it. And I wouldn't have any of it. And when we did have a party round at Tracy's for a granddaughter or whatever, we did let them drink, but it was controlled. It weren't just like supping vodkas, you know. There was adults there. There was like 6 or 7 adults, and we had a proper like party. There was stuff but barbecue and all that lot. They're all in the backyard, and then they all went home. But they're drinking on the streets. And so I said to her, said to the girl, right, well, what I'll do, I'll just get my phone now. And all I said was attacks in Alexandra Park. That's what I said on the Google. And the top 5 or 6 posts when I said that, 3 of them were attacks on young girls. I mean, under 18-year-old girls in that park. There's been several reported rapes over more than several, a lot of kind of trouble against girls in that park and women in general. And I know Billy Howarth of PAG UK, and they have a patrol team, and they call it Park Patrol. And we've talked about this a few times, me and Billy. Alexandra Park is one of his areas that he patrols. So he's gone onto this area. They've gone seen a security man on the area who acts a bit religion of peace. Explained to him what they're doing. They've got out ID and all that lot. They've got all like bright IVIDS vests on. They're not there to cause trouble. And they got run out by 30 Muslim youths. You know what I mean? And Billy said the security guard didn't do nothing, and the 30 youths just ran them out. But they weren't there to cause trouble or stoke up violence. They were just doing a park patrol. You know what I mean? This is the kind of thing Billy does. And Alexandra Park's one of his areas. So there's constantly trouble in that area. I haven't even got onto drugs yet, streets, because Glodwick is a heroin capital of Greater Manchester, right? The heroin's come through there. It's wrecked Oldham over the past 30 years. It's spread all across Manchester. There's shitloads of articles about drug dealers being done, and they're all like the heroin guys. There might be a white guy on your estate who sells the heroin, but he doesn't import it, and he's not the number one man. He's like the fourth man down the line or something, right? And all the guys who are done for the original supplying, predominantly Muslim. You know what I mean? And it comes from Oldham. And I said this because my nephew's Pakistani dad is a convicted heroin drug money launderer. You know, I don't say shit me that's not true, or I haven't got evidence against. And people like to just, one post don't tell you nothing. You've got to look at someone's profile and see the kind of stuff they do. But he hasn't answered me back yet, because I went on about the heroin, the ethnic crime as well. And he was going on, they built this and they built that. And I said a load of other things, but I'm just hoping that he'll watch this video, you know, that.
Don't you think it's a bad situation where this is going on in this area, and there's other areas like it, and they've always got the same underlying issue, and it's to do with certain demographics. Don't you think it's almost bad where you need to, in a way, justify it? And you have to put your position
Honestly,
and you're like, you want me to talk about the good things that are here, but basically there isn't a lot. And so I have to talk about what's relative and what's more shocking. So if you want to celebrate the fact you've got a new mosque, you go for it. Who paid for it, for a start off? But then you also want to say, is that your first thing that comes to mind? So ignore all the deaths, ignore all the bullying, ignore all the abuse that people have been taking, for what I can gather. But you want to talk about, there's a couple of boxes coming through, or you got a new mosque. Is that really the way to change the thing that's happening there? It's shocking.
I know, honestly, that's not even the half of it. The Alexandra Park, the Waterloo area, Glodwick area, about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, they asked the council that they wanted to build a school, because there used to be a school on there called Green Hill School, but they wanted to build another school, and I shit you not, the council said you can have a school, but it's got to be mixed. It's got to be boys and girls. When they went in 8 months later, there were only girls in the school.
Right, okay.
No boys in. This is in Oldham. This is going on in Oldham. And this is within the past 10 years. So he's going on about they've made changes in 15, 20 years, but not really. They're not making any kind of changes. The council love obeying to religious sensitivities in Oldham. And I've gone on about this before, and they won't deal with the situation. There was another school just a few miles away that was in the paper, a primary school, where the teacher had alleged to have death threats because the parents were saying that they wanted to do different things at the school. They didn't like the Western or the British curriculum that they were showing them. Now, I'm going to my nationalist side now. These kind of people I don't want in my country.
No.
If they're not going to step up, mix in, integrate. I don't want them in my country. I'm not saying they have to change the religion, keep the religion, but they've got to abide by the laws and the rules of this country. And there's too much of it going across England for any of this. And I'd like the ethno-nationalists don't want like people here who want 95% white Britain. I don't want people in this country, no matter what colour they are or anything, who won't integrate into our society. The failure of integration has been throughout Oldham. I've explained this for over 30 years. And I've showed proof. We've got proof of the Oldham riots and why that was and all that lot. Yet still people will, the other side will say things. And I mean, I still go in Oldham and I walk around and I've been up to the Glodick area and to the Alexander Park area. And it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before I get pulled by one of these guys, you know what I mean, or somebody who's seen me online, and I will be a bit worried because I believe that in that area a lot of the youth and the lads and that barbarians. I'll be fucking straight with it. Obviously I'm going to be worried, but it's definitely going to happen. I'll be as calm as I can and stuff like that. I don't want to be fighting with them, but I'll talk to any of them, just like I seen on that MDL video. Even though that Gonzo, the leader, was fucking threatening it, I was stood next to him trying to talk to him and saying, and this language thing, the other week when Kim got arrested and Tom was at the police station on the Friday.
Yeah, I hope Tom and Kim are doing well. I haven't heard from a while, so if you are listening, hope you're doing well. And God bless. Hope you're doing well.
They are doing well. Yeah. And so on the Friday, Tom's there most of the night from tea time-ish till about 12. And when he seen people going in, he thought they were solicitors to see Kim, so he's approached them. 3 different ones said the translators. So them translators are going into the police station, translating for people who've been in trouble. Why the fuck are these people here in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, I used that example the other day when we were talking about, I forget what stream. I've been on that many streams now, or in Discord, and I was saying, the reason why I believe that if you can't speak English, you shouldn't be here, is the fact that the repercussions of that means. If you can't speak English, that means you can only go to one community. If you can't speak English, then you either have to interpret it, or you can only work for people in them businesses that can speak that language. So you're segregating yourself in a different area. But if that's the case where you have to have a solicitor or a barrister that can only speak your language, for me, I'm a cynic, and I think, well, I don't know what you're telling him. Or her. So how do I know you're going to be telling him exactly what I've said? You could be telling him, right, he's just said this to me. This is what I want you to say. I don't know, because I can't understand it. So how do I know you're not doing that? And this is where it's dangerous. Dangerous.
Yeah, but even before that, the nationalist side of me says I don't want them here.
Yeah.
If they're not going to.
True.
If right, I have met people, Somalian, Shaibi was called. He's come from Somalia, didn't speak English, wanted a better life for him and his missus.
Yeah. And
the first thing he did was take a 2-year lesson in learning English streets. And he did it all. And he passed like in just a couple of years, he's passed GCSE level English.
Yeah.
And he's learned to speak. When we was at working together, he used to come up to me and ask me about certain words, and I was all quite happy. People like that, fine.
Yeah, true.
Right.
True.
But someone's going to come here and not even want to learn it. I don't want that people here. Then they're in our justice system. Then they need translators, not just the justice system, the national health. The translators in the national health now. Right, the nationalist side of me is screaming, why the fuck have we got these people here in first place? You know what I mean? Forget everything else. Why we even let them in? Obviously, being in the EU, we've opened the doors, flooded in. We've got Eastern European migration, which at the moment is a major problem in Oldham.
Yeah.
Not Islam, Eastern European migration. Even though I've told you about other stuff to do with Islam, this Eastern European immigration is a major problem. And so it does come to demographics in the end. And the nationalist side of me screams out for that kind of thing. They've got to be able to integrate. My dad showed that over 20 years ago, they weren't integrated. So, and now they're coming here and they're still not integrated. They might
maybe
end
they're
up
kids, though. That's the thing. Because they've been put in a situation where they're, you know, you got estates, say the Romanians or Eastern Europeans, whichever country they're from, if they live in that area, then how are they ever going to integrate? Because they can only go there. I've got an example of a lady that works for me, and she did all the GCSEs and everything when well, I don't think they call them that, but in Poland, and a family moved over. And they went to Wales to start with, but they found the language barrier still too much. Even though she'd done all her exams and stuff. Problem is, you've got accents and lingos and abbreviations, so it was still quite hard for her. So she moved to where I move. Obviously, I don't tell anyone where I am, but and she said she found herself in more of a situation is because the areas that she was living were predominantly a Polish area. And she goes, well, I wasn't learning English. She goes, I've learned more English working for me because she's had to learn it because I don't have them speaking their own language on the line. They have to be able to communicate with me. If not, it don't work. And she said her English now has come on that much because it was done. It was great. So there is instances where it does work, but let's say if that girl only ever lived in a Polish area and only ever worked in Polish shops or Polish businesses, she would never have learned the language to the capability she's got now. And it has to happen. It has to happen. They have to be able to do it.
Well, honestly, so I just want to show everyone, I've got me half a lemon that I'm going to have to give me some alkaline and build up my immune, good for my immune system. So that's what I'm going to be sucking on. But like another particular one, so the guy's going on, a lot's been made. Now this isn't in the particular area, but so the link I put up is from 2006. Well, it's updated 2016. I'm sure the crime was 2015. So there's 4 Religion of Peace lads, all 16-year-olds. They've kidnapped a mixed race lad, repeatedly pumped and kicked him. Scissors were used to cut his hair. They've burnt him with a hot knife. Burnt his. After that, they used a hot iron to burn him on the buttocks, back and stomach, and poured salt and lemon onto his wounds. And he was also sexually assaulted. Yeah.
Where is
so
this?
This is in Oldham, so they were jailed, and this is in another area of Oldham. So this is 2015, I think the crime happened. It might have even been 14, because on the article here says it's been updated.
That's fucked up.
It looks 2016, but so the other week I looked at a report of a lad being stabbed and killed, and it's one of these lads. It's one of these lads. So they've all gone to jail. They've come out, and one of these has done something bad, and he's been a victim of a stabbing and been stabbed to death. Honestly, I shit you not, this is in Oldham, going on in the past like 3-4 years. Now, no one can tell me that that's not relevant things. So obviously, he's not learning nothing in jail. He's not learning to be a good kid in jail. He's come out, got into a fight or something, been stabbed to death. And the increase in crime in the area I keep going on about, I just don't say things that are just like opinions.
But the thing is, John, it's another thing though. Okay, he's committed the crime, but where's he gone? He's gone to prison. Who's he going to be around? The same people, the same people. That you know, it's the same thing. So when he comes out, it's not as if it's not. There's no integration at all.
And in the article, if you click on it, guys, you can see the wounds that it caused on the other lad's house. So I think they got right. So a 17-year-old got sentenced 6 years, 6 months. So he's only done half of that. 16-year-old got 4 years. So he would have done 2 of them who was 16, but they would have just done half of that. We're 17, 2 16-year-olds, a 15-year-old as well. That's really real. Oh, so there's 5 of them involved, and this is ongoing in Oldham, and the rise in crime and all that. So the guy on that post has not even took any of that into consideration. I don't care. They built mosque and they're learning. They're not learning. They're not learning to integrate correctly. Now,
No.
the thing is, right, other people might say, someone in the chat said Islam doesn't integrate, but it could have been forced to integrate by the Labour Council. The Labour Council dealt with it in the first place. I keep saying this, the empirical evidence we've got, especially in Oldham and other areas, Rotherham, Halifax, across Yorkshire, Telford, they're not making them integrate properly. They're not putting the rules down. So under my nationalist side demands that these people integrate when they come here. They have to sign a thing. If they're not integrating, they can fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care what anyone says. People might be going on that, like, I'm not picking on one particular race.
No, it's all of them. It's all of them, mate.
You know what I mean? It's all of them. Obviously, if there's lads who are born here who are English heritage, whether they're mixed race, white or not, we'll have to deal with them ourselves. We can't just deport them because
I know, right, from experience, that the people, not just Muslims, this is anyone, they're taught their language at home, all the way through their school, all the way until they get up to school age, and then they go into the school, and I'm not saying all of them, but a high majority, they know their first language is their native tongue, and they expect the school to teach them English, because the people at home can't speak English neither. So they're taught from up to about 3 to 4 years old how to speak their own language, how to communicate. They've already took on their cultures, their mannerisms, their everything. And when they come into a comprehensive school, it's then that they have to be taught a different way. They have to be taught how to behave to one person or another, how to communicate with kids, how to communicate. And it's the emphasis is on the school then to teach them how to speak English. That should never happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's another. I've got another thing here. Oh shit, where's it gone now? I did have a video. I put it up a couple of times, and it's after the riots to go talking to the locals, and one of the lads' mums has been here for 20 years and she's never spoke English, she doesn't need to. So what you're saying is bang on there. Is have to learn it at school, and she won't learn it. So if she was still around now, that woman would have been here over 30 years without being able to speak English.
So when he says she doesn't need to, that would then mean she either doesn't work, or she works in an area that only speaks their language. How is that possible?
Honestly,
it's like
nothing. That's nothing. Listen to this, right? So I've come back from Bradford 2012. My dad died in 2006. So 2007, I went Bradford, car valeting, stayed up there 5 years, and then I come back in 2012. Then I got into the boating thing and worked for UKIP and all that. But I went signing on. So I went to sign on, and like where I sit, there's like 5 tables where I was waiting, and everyone who goes to them tables is signing on for the weekly gyro or whatever you want to set your check or whatever, your credit thing, whatever. Then a guy sat down while I'm being seen by this woman, and already they're acting like, oh, you've got to go this, you've got to go this far, you've got to go look for work here. We want you to fill your form in, you have to be looking for work all the time. A guy comes next to me, right? Religion of peace. Honestly, I shit you not. If I'd have known at the time, I would have filmed it, but I didn't. So it's come and he sat down. And I've heard the woman say, "Oh, so you need a translator?" And I went, "What?" So this is 2012. I'm thinking. So the woman I'm doing with, I'm going through my books with her, dealt with that guy. He got sent to another desk because he needed translating. They moved down to another desk so someone else can deal with him. So I just got up, leaned over to the woman. Excuse me, is he signing on like I am? She went, yeah. What? And he needs a translator. I said, so he's getting. So doesn't that mean that he doesn't have to do as much as me? He doesn't have to go to all these places for job because if he can't speak English, then he can only do his job in his certain society. Honestly, in his certain circles, that's what it was like. And I sort of like kicked off. The security come over, and then I left. But you know, like I'm adamant, I will never ever go back to the Dole office because if I ever had to go in it, I'd burn it down. I went in and fair dues to this woman who was initially seeing me. She was African descent, but her English wasn't right particularly good, and she had a strong African accent, and I couldn't understand her. Yeah, and properly. And I kept, excuse me, what? Can you repeat that? Excuse me, can you repeat that? And I said it about 6 times, and I went, can you just get the manager? She looked at me a bit funny. Manager come over and said, honestly, I have to sit here for 30 minutes with her. It's going to take an hour because I keep asking her to repeat things because I can't understand her. I'm not having a go that she's not trying, and she is. But this is a woman who's dealing with me at the door, and I can't understand her. And I was 2012, so that's like 8 years ago. So I'm well into my 40s. Obviously, I live in Oldham, so I've heard a lot of different languages. I'm not saying I'm particularly fresh in speaking other language, but I'm a person who can understand and work things out quickly. I won't be like, oh, I can't understand you. You know, I tried to understand her and all that lot. And the manager gave me a funny look. Honestly, the manager gave me a funny look. So the nationalist side of me saying what's going on in our Dole offices, you know what I mean? And not just that, in the NHS. I were at my doctor's, and an older guy's come in, and he's with like 4 youths, and he's religion of peace, and they was translating for him in the doctor's. Now, I didn't find out whether this guy was a patient at the doctor's or not, but they were translating for him. And I think, what kind of people do we have over in England? You know what I mean? And it's just more so now. We hear the story of Tom listening about them translators going into that Liverpool police station. And nationalist side of me is burning, asking why the fuck do we have these people here in the first place if they're not gonna learn our English or integrate. And again, like you said, and I've just said, this lack of integration is across the country, more so in the north, I think. So from Birmingham upwards, the lack of integration is unbelievable.
Imagine this then, right? I've got an example for you. I've said it a few times, but on different streams. My sister was a trained midwife. Okay, so she had to do her midwifery course in Birmingham because obviously we live in Birmingham, so that was where she did it. And then she went to a hospital in Derby, and then she did the one in Wolverhampton. Well, what happened was when she was doing her tests, when she was doing a university course, you do like on-site stuff. So for about 2 years or 3 years, she was working, training on site. And then, and I'm not even fucking. This is how disgraceful it was. When she'd passed, they said to her that there was no position for her, and she was basically, well, what do you mean? I'm working here now. Because the problem is that basically the demographic, we don't get that much need for English speaking. Basically, they didn't say it outright, but basically what it was a lot of the people that went there were non-speaking English. So when my sister was around there, she'd always have someone with her so she could communicate with the would you call her a patient? I don't know. So she would be the one that was communicating with the one having the baby because they could speak the language and my sister couldn't. I mean, how weird's that? So in Wolverhampton Hospital, she was actually having to have an interpreter so she could communicate with the woman giving birth, right? So she could actually help her do her job. But when she come to pass, they couldn't continually do that. They couldn't go, oh, well, basically, if we kept you, we'd have to have someone with you constantly so you can talk. And she didn't get the job. It took her nearly 2 years to find another position as a midwife. After she'd done all the training, all the hospitals. And it was literally, she needed the interpreter with her to communicate with the patients because they didn't speak English. This is an English hospital. How's that? How can that be right?
Honestly, and the nationalist side in me absolutely screams. I'll put a link into the chat, right? And I'll just read the article. It cost $9 million to build, but now a college is closing after none of its pupils passed their English or Maths GCSEs. Yeah. And it was a state-of-the-art college, opened in 2014, is to be dramatically closed down by the government. And in the summer before, nobody passed their English or Maths GCSEs. Now, the particular college, the school is next to Oldham College, central Oldham, and the majority of the pupils were ethnic minorities, mainly Muslims who went there. So none of them passed. They built this school, cost $9 million. They've put kids in to do English and Maths. So, and I think it was secondary school. Yeah, so it'd be secondary school GCSE. None of them have passed. You know what I mean? No one's passed in a full season. I don't know how many people were there. It said it was due to low pupil numbers as well, and also but local politicians also pointed to terrible exam results and ongoing concerns about standards. And there's been several schools around Oldham that have been like free schools or charity schools that are run by Religion and Peace that nobody does anything good at them. You know what I mean? It's just not, I'm not making up. I put the article in the link. You can read it yourself and people. And this is Oldham. This is Oldham. So we should, as the nationalist in me should, if I'm not going to go for repatriation or anything, people have to integrate into our society.
They do.
It's just screaming at me, and I'm mixed race, but it's screaming at me everything that's wrong, the stuff that follows on from this, the extra costs we have to put in. It just does me head in. It just does me head in, and I don't know why. This is Labour, though. This is Labour. Yeah. When we look at it and we look at all the Labour areas, they just let it go on and they let them do whatever they want. It's typical Labour, and it just fucking infuriates me. And it does everybody. Anybody I know, no matter what colour they are, who if they share respect British values, I fume at that. They kick off when I'm going on about stuff like that.
The thing is, though, what you've got to realise as well, we should have realised of what happened in the Windrush, where the communities was the first communities that were sort of segregated because of they wanted people to come over, feel comfortable, so they put them in areas just so they felt completely different country. It was like to sort of help them along, and a lot of people moved away. They made lives everywhere, and it was from what I can gather looking at the history, it was spread out over the UK, and it seemed to go really well. But what we've got now is every nationality that come here do the same thing. So this is where you get different areas. You've got Indians in one area. If you take Bradford 1 and 2, it's like you'll have the Pakistanis one, you'll have the Indians in another. In Nottingham, you've got the Jamaicans, I believe. And then you've got certain areas where you've just got a massive Polish area, a massive Ukrainian area. Why are we allowing it to happen? We already know what happens through history in the last 40 years of how this will plan out if we don't move them and let them segregate within the UK. But every time we have a new community, we sort of allow them to sort of like segregate in one area. That is not beneficial to the UK. It's not beneficial to them neither.
Yeah, it's just not. And I mean, some people have said to me, but the Eastern Europeans, even like I've explained that we've got high Eastern European immigration to Oldham, which has now caused 50% of primary school places to be filled by kids whose mum and dads are European, first generation European heritage, yeah. And then the secondary schools are like 46%. Yeah, the civic nationalists will say, well, yeah, they will integrate. They might integrate eventually, but with the failings of putting them in, making the ghettos, the integration takes 3 times longer. And I'm not willing to wait anything like that. I don't want them here in the first place if it's going to cause so much trouble for the communities and all that lot. The guy was saying about how they're all teaching them on the thing and they're going out working. So why is Oldham still one of the most shittest places for unemployment across the country? If that's so,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He even mentioned self-employed, and that's a joke, that, because the self-employed charter in England is one of the most abused things within the work communities of anywhere in England. The self-employed thing is so much abused. It's abused by everyone, but more so immigration. The council stated that in Oldham stated that the self-employed way in Oldham has been severely abused by Eastern Europeans. You know what I mean? It's this. I don't want to live streets in a country that's just like that all over the place. I don't want to live. I don't want these people here if they won't learn to speak English.
No.
Now, if someone come over from another country, how long is it if they get taught? How long is it before they learn basic English?
Well, the thing is, though, we have to, bearing in mind, we have to pay for that.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
they're not
That's what
paying
I
it
mean.
themselves. When they come over and they can't speak English, they go to our schools, which puts a massive strain on the education system alone. Never mind the infrastructure of doctors. I mean, there's a couple of Polish people that have to travel to Coventry from Birmingham because they can't speak any of our language, so they have to go to Coventry because there's a Polish doctor there. I mean, come off it. What are we doing? What are we fucking doing? And then the excuse is when they can't get a job, well, they can't speak English because we're going to have to help them out along the way. But how long do you do that? Okay, that's okay for the first month. But after the first year, they still can't speak English. Are you really saying we have to continually do this? No, you
we shouldn't have
can't.
to. And I just want to impress everyone in the chat. Impress, and I've said this a million trillion times. Not everybody is bad who comes over here. I've met some lovely
I don't.
people from all over the place, but with the doors open wide and not the right checks doing, we've got murderers who've murdered in Europe, murdering over here, rapists who've raped in Europe, raping over here, people traffickers who people traffic in Europe, trafficking over here, as well as getting nice people over. We don't have any kind of control. Open the doors, let every cunt in, no matter what they look like.
But I believe, though, John, where you're on about the traffickers and the stuff, I believe the people that are the decent people and the people that can do this, they're being victimised by their own people to keep them in the area to be the stuff.
Honestly, you said that early last year, 7 Eastern Europeans, Romanians, found in a basement in the near the area where Tommy had his MEP launch, and they were being kept there by Hungarians. You know what I mean? I couldn't make it up. That's what's happening in Oldham right now, and all these new people involved in that modern day slavery thing, we're all new Eastern Europeans. I'll just get the link up, just so. I mean, people know me by now. Just don't say bullshit. Not like cases like that, unless it's true. This is a true case.
People think I joke when I say most minorities have fought for to end segregation for so many generations and years. And what you do is when you get the end of segregation, you segregate yourselves. It's strange.
I just don't. This is all fucking. It's been through the courts. The people have been done. I just don't make this shit up, mate. I don't. There's a link to it. 7 Romanians rescued. Hungarians, I think, were who kept them here. We've got all this going on. I mean, besides that, there's one other. I mean, there's an issue that I haven't properly looked into, but I've talked to a couple of people. Sham marriages. Now, you don't hear a lot about it, but I've even had a Jamaican who was involved in the Windrush, who had to pay money, said to me that she would stop immigration because it's the most abused system in England, the immigration system, from all sides of it. We look at what they've done to the Windrush. We look at how the Eastern European Open EU immigration is going now. None of it has worked properly.
No.
Even though, like, the early settlers did integrate, but we haven't learned lessons, and
but they had to then. That was the difference. They had to then, whereas now they don't. They had to, because when you came over, if you couldn't speak the language, you would have to learn pretty quick, because every shop owner, every business was an English speaker, or it was a thing. So you had to learn. You had to adopt to the sort of foods that we eat, the sort of shops that we did. The reason why you see a lot of the people that came over quite early on, and they're wearing all Western clothes and the stuff. We say to people, well, look, they were integrated nice when they back in the 60s and 70s, because look, they're wearing English clothes. No, they didn't. They only did that because they couldn't buy their own clothes then, because there wasn't any shops to do that. But as soon as the shops started appearing, and then their clothes were being made or imported, and then they reverted back to what they know. It wasn't because they were integrated better then. It was the fact that they had to integrate. You couldn't go into bloody your local centre and buy a hijab or a burqa or a sari, because there wasn't shops like that. So they either made it themselves, or they purchased westernized clothes or Western clothes. But as soon as it got to the point where, the shop owners decided, well, I can't get it, so I'm going, fair play to them. And then they started getting the factories to make the clothes to suit. That's all it was. It wasn't because they were more integrated. It was the fact they couldn't wear them clothes. They couldn't eat their own food. They had to assimilate. They had to learn the language. But it got to the point over generations, and it wasn't a lot of generations. It got to the point where there were so many coming over that they could leave the Western values behind now, and then they started creeping in, wearing their own clothes again. They started bringing segregating in their own communities, their own foods and stuff like that. So they actually went reversed.
Yeah, honestly, and it's just unbelievable. No, you're right, Steph. I shouldn't have to explain myself to retards, but I'm not saying anyone in the chat here, because I was directing at the guy who put the comment on my YouTube thing. But I'm having a talk the other night on Wake Up UK on Saturday. Glenn Safford were on, Ginger Tony, Dentar Garrigan, Rick, it's called, and Jason, and they mentioned me in it and my position and all that, because obviously I go on the so-called Nazi channels and stuff like that. Now, if any of them had any sense, and I think Jason does, because I've talked to him, I've made my position clear many a times, and there's things that I want to do that even the ethno-nationalists wouldn't do. You know what I mean? And I'm just sick of it. The nationalist side of me screams out all the time, even more so in the past 10 years, about people not integrating and stuff like that. And I see it all the time. And some of the stuff I've worked on, you see this lack of integration and stuff like that. And on Wednesday, he's coming on Wake Up UK to talk to me, to get me in a position. And I'm not one of them people, me, who won't talk to that person because they believe in a certain thing. Why I think the big fallout is between the Tommy camp and the ethno-nationalist side is the Jewish question. That's one of the biggest things between them. You don't hear me going on about that, because I don't think that the Jews are responsible for the Rochdale councillor who blamed the parents and the kids.
No.
I don't think the Jews are responsible for the police turning a blind eye to gang rape and They might be responsible for political correctness, but they're not responsible for everything. And the work I do on the streets and that is that kind of street work, and they're not responsible for any of that. They could have been responsible in the first place of bringing them over, but I work on what I think I can know best. So I'm working on that street level. So it really, the JQ question is irrelevant to me. I don't really talk about it. I do have my own opinions. I will actually on Wednesday, I'm going to let off one of my opinions about the Jewish question, but I'm not going to make an issue out of it. And that's what I see the big divide is between the ethno-nationalists and like the Tommy camp especially. And I don't give a shit, but like 99.9% of the ethno-nationalist side I agree with. I've just been talking like similar ways that Mark Collette's talked about demographics and the changes we've had and all that lot. Now, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I've put links down to proof of everything that I'm saying that's happening. We know that there's a national rise in crime across the country, not just in London, some areas more than others at certain times of the year. We've got all empirical evidence for this, right? But the nationalist side of me is screaming. And I mean, honestly, when James has talked to me and said about the ethno-nationalists, obviously, right, if a country wants to be a majority, whatever colour or race, ethnicity, I'm okay with that because it's any country's thingy. It's what they want, you know what I mean? I'm not here to like denounce Japan because they're an ethno state. I'm not here to denounce North Korea because they're an ethno state or other people. And I've been looking to the like ethno states, and even Israel is classed similar under that thing. But what I've been some information I was looking at today, when other people, no, there's mixed people in it, but it's majority run their way by their culture, their customs, and everything. Even if you might be look like a different type of Jew, you're all under that fucking banner. And my values and my social values that I've got in England, which is the same as everybody, I feel is so much under threat. Just like the white ethno-nationalist feel that he's under threat, I'm under threat as much as every other white person out there. And because like if the state now turned to a lefty state, I wouldn't be siding with the lefties. I would be the number one enemy. I would be the number one enemy because I'd be kicking off against them all the time and calling them out, you know, for the failings and all that. So I'm under threat as much as the next white geezer here, you know what I mean? And if values, and I've gone on about my values and the way I got brought up in England under Church of England values, it's all under threat. And it's scary. It's scary that like in 20 years' time, like loads of our churches would have gone. And what do I know about the churches in England? What I can tell you about it, a lot of churches in England, the hallowed ground, and some of our oldest trees in the UK are in church grounds. They're not in the middle of Cumbrian mountains, or they're not in the Lake District. These old trees are in churchyard because that's how much we care and how much the church has had some part of our community and thing over the years. You know what I mean? And it's all going. It's all going. These trees. I'll put it in like my terms. These trees are being knocked down, and we're getting less and less of them now. So that means our values and our culture is going and going and going, and it's going all the time, and it just does me head in. And I see it. I see it though. I see it all the time, and I scream about it, and I still get called names and stuff like that. It's just really upsetting, man. Honestly, it really is. So I mean, going back to the modern day slavery, I put that little link up to the 7 Romanians. There was a major. I'll just see if I can find a link to it. A major people trafficker. Big in Europe, one person was arrested in Oldham. See if I can find a link for it. Right, it says suspected, but I'm sure there's another link saying he was. Suspected leader of people smuggling network arrested in Oldham.
Okay, now.
Suspected leader of a huge people smuggling network believed to be operating between Iraq and the UK has been arrested in Oldham. The suspects all have links with the Kurdish community. Bloody hell, why did I think this was Eastern European? So you know what I mean, honestly. And when you look at the modern day slavery statistics, there's hardly any white people. Someone did point out actually and put a link up which showed there was some English white person involved at one out of like 500 links. You know what I mean? So it's not us doing it. It's other people.
Yeah.
It is absolutely other people. Happy to put the JQ on the back burner, but I'm not willing to tend it. No, you're right, Grief. I will. I'll definitely go more into the JQ question in a couple of weeks. I'll try and do a bit of a show on it, of what I've learned, what I know. I don't know everything, but I've got a big opinion to that JQ question, which sort of like links in with Islamophobia. So Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. But I will go on about that. But I'm not denying that no one died in the Holocaust. It did. But I am a bit iffy on the amount of people who've died. That's a big issue with me. That I have mentioned it a couple of times. But I mean, next year I want to even take a trip down to Auschwitz, you know, to see for myself. I want to stand next to them buildings and touch them. I want to feel the area around, and I probably after I do that, I'll do a big video about JQ. But yeah, I'm not with, and it's on the back burner. But like I said, it doesn't relate directly to me at the moment. Local issues in Oldham, but yeah, the nationalist side of me is screaming out here that what we're doing to our country, you know, the shit that's coming in. And the stuff we're doing and what we're doing when we leave the EU, which the Eastern Europeans are going back, you know, how we're going to deal with all that. Forget the Islamic issue. I'm more bothered right now about the Eastern Europeans. It's just unbelievable. And when I seen the guy put the link up in my YouTube, he's done it on the Oldham video, I thought, he don't fucking know anything. Because mate, you're a muppet. That's my opinion. Talking about the bins being fired at. Where's your source? The bins weren't fired at. What I was talking about in the video was it's a no-go zone, and I've had this a couple of times, and I'm not going through to find the links, but I put 2 links up, right, that were 10 years apart. And it was emergency services being attacked when they went to them areas. Emergency services. I think they were both fire engine incidents because there was some bin in flames or something. When they've gone on, they've been attacked. And that's what it's like in the Glodwick area and in the ghetto areas of Oldham. You're not allowed to go in. And I mean, this isn't just in Oldham. And I know this, there's more and more empirical stuff I'm bringing up to another area, Rotherham. When they first started the investigations after the Jay's report come out, the local Muslim community, you're being racist, you're picking on us. That's what they said in Rotherham to the police when the police started investigating all these rape gang fucking bullshit members. That's what they said. But what do we know? We know that these things went on. We know they went on in this area. In the Jay's report, it states about a Muslim councillor who venomously denied all this was going on. Then all of a sudden turned around and said, oh, well, we did know it was going on, but we didn't know it was that bad. They know exactly what's going on in these areas. That's what infuriates me, Streets, about the left and Labour. denounce it all. And Lister, I was talking to Lister on phone one day, and he said it's not always Labour to blame. I said, but I can blame Labour because of certain things. What do you mean? And then, so what I did, I sent him. I haven't sent it him yet, but I've got a link. And at the Jays report, when they did the Jays report initially, they started the investigation. They did a small investigation into the Labour-run council in Rotherham. And this is what it said in the government report. It says, what they found out was the Labour Council was had an air of bullying, sexism, threats, all sorts of stuff to people within the council from the main Labour people. That's what it says on the report. So yeah, I'm going to blame Labour, and that same kind of thing has happened in Oldham recently, where they've been called out over the child sexual exploitation. The council leader said that everyone were barefaced liars, and then it's come out about Victoria Aglolia, and they still know that there's more to come out of Oldham. You know what I mean? And with evidence like that, that's proving my point and giving me more ammunition to go on. And I just wish people would look a bit more closely into it. And so the Jays report, they started 2014, and when I come back to Oldham in 2012. So being on social media, I got messages of people from South Yorkshire area saying that the grooming scandal is going to be coming out. And then all of a sudden, 2014, it came out and they started to do that Jays report. And it's one of the most looked at documents that I've ever looked at. I've printed stuff off it. I've gone through that document about 50 times, and a lot of the stuff that's written in the document can relate to other areas such as Telford, such as Oldham, such as around Manchester, Blackburn, Oxford, wherever we've had the grooming gangs. That report is a good report to tell you what's going on in all areas, and I've tried to be called out a couple of times by lefties when I've gone on about it, but I've shot them down by reciting passages out of the report, and then what they'll say, the typical lefty will say, oh, well, yeah, we don't believe the government report. It's the only fucking report to go off. So you've either got to go off that and what knowledge you can get off local people. And at the moment, I'll get him up on, I'll just get him up. It's called K. William on Twitter. And he's an ex-Rotherham, South Yorkshire Rotherham councillor. Oh. And what I can tell you is that K. William is an ex-Rotherham councillor, and there's court cases going on about rape gangs in Rotherham by this ex-councillor. Stuff related to this person. They know shitloads of victims and all that lot. And I've talked to Kate. I haven't met him personally, but I've private messaged him. We've had big talks and all that lot. A lot of the stuff that K. William does on Twitter, I 100% agree with, man. I 100% agree with, because there's just too much evidence to not agree with it, and especially when you woke up and you know what's going on. And what I said, I wanted an interview. Could I? Said I can't at the moment because of some court cases going on. So I'm going to message him again, and hopefully, when these court cases are over, we can get K. William on, because it's rape gangs and it's a big issue to me, and it always has been for 15, 20 years, even more so before Tommy Robinson. It's a rape gangs and the Labour, and K. William calls out the Labour Party for the failings, just like I do. So very interesting, someone very interesting to follow on Twitter. And when they come out with information, it's bona fide information. They know they're an ex-councillor. They know how it works. There's a couple of times they put up, and Kay William will put up a video of Rotherham Council, and then say like, all these lot denied something was going on. Then the year after, it come out that something did go on, you know. And Kay Williams always under threat, like all the rest of the truth tellers, about, you know, speaking the truth and all that against Labour. So that'll be coming on off Kay Williams. I mean, Rotherham's always been a soft spot for me, but more so Telford at the moment, because I know what Telford's going through. But I'm not going to forget anything like this is going on around our country. I'm not going to, and that's why I'll stand up and go to court and stuff like that.
Yeah. Don't you find it strange that the left will look at statistics about race, like hate speech, or, you know, the increase in hate crimes against minorities, and they use that as their Bible. Look at you, look at this, tell me this isn't on the increase. But if you show them facts about the increase of Islamic rape gangs, it goes, nah, that isn't, that they're only showing part of it. And it's like you blindly follow one part of data that comes from the government, but then you ignore the other side of the data that comes from the same government. It's just hypocrisy.
It is, isn't it? I mean, talking to Lister, we're going on about the Quilliam report, because that's the one that initially pointed out 84%.
He always goes to that.
Yeah. Now he said, "Oh, that's like bullshit." I went, "Right, is it?" So it's Tell Mama. I said, "You know what Tell Mama is?" Yeah. What do you think of that? Oh, it's all right. No, it isn't. But that's bullshit as well, and there's evidence against that. When I was doing On the Run for Britain First, we had a speaker one weekend down Birmingham, and the bloke's over 70, and all he did was go on Twitter and call out the leader of that Tell Mama. And next thing, he gets arrested and locked up by the police because that. And he hasn't threatened him. He hasn't called him racist. This is an old geezer who's dead nice, speaks lovely, and he's a Christian. And he got arrested and locked up because he pointed out the failings of Tell Mama. And besides that, even the government shut down Tell Mama at one point because of the funding not going to the right places. And what it was with that Tell Mama is you tell Mama about a racial incident, and what they were doing, they were making shit up. And if you just looked at someone wrong, it was making it up. So that's he pointed out the Quilliam report, then I pointed out that. You know what I mean? And so what are we to believe? We have to do our own research. We have to chat with the people who were involved. Kay William has been an ex-local councillor in Rotherham. So I believe that when they call it out, they've got evidence and all that. He's got court cases going through, pretty serious court cases, to a grooming case, and that are still going through in the Rotherham area. You know what I mean? And then when the police started investigating the area, oh, you're being racist to us, you're picking on us, but they weren't picking on them. The rape gangs were coming from them areas. You know what I mean? I just honestly, every fibre, every little bit of nationalist fibre in me is screaming at all this. It's screaming. And I don't even want to give people money to go. I just want to kick them off the White Cliffs of Dover. And everyone said, well, you can't do it. No, well, I want to. I feel like doing that. What is it now? So in all of the EU, 37.5% of the benefits paid out in the EU states are paid out from England. So they are coming here for the benefits. That proves they're coming here for the benefits. I put that link up. That's fucking factual information. You know what I mean? Honestly, and we can't not deny this. And I just wish people would see it from my point of view. And I mean, I'm going a bit off subject now, but obviously, before the recent Tommy movement, before pre-referendum, I did go on a couple of things that were to do with Tommy, but I'd been wide awake from before that. I started my own thing, promoting voting, getting people to vote, introducing the Pakistani-born Pakistani man who was running for UKIP to the Fitting Hill area, which is right next to this Eastern European area. And since then, it's gone worse to worse to worse in the Eastern European area. And I helped him get 500 more votes easy in his area, and he comes second, rather than the local elections before. The UKIP member come fourth, it comes second after I finished doing about 2 years' work before the referendum. And it's just hard work, but we just got to try our best, highlight what I think I can highlight, and sort stuff out whatever I can. Hopefully now, currently, I'm looking at trying to get to some of the Oldham Public Council meetings, maybe get them filmed when I'm in there, and try and try and talk to the local people who aren't left or right, try and talk to them and get a bit more of what's going on with them. And again, it affects everybody. The current climate in Oldham is affecting all the immigrants who come from years before, even if they're Islamic immigrants and they're not integrating properly. The recent immigration from EU, the Eastern Europeans, is affecting them. It's affecting me. It's affecting the West Indian community. It's affecting the Indian community. It's affecting every community that's already in Oldham. You just don't know what to say, man, honestly. Oh, you know, let me suck the rest of my lemon out now.
What amazes me is the people actually that live around these areas and these communities. They can see what's going on, but they seem to want to live like that because they've got no intention of changing it. They've got no intention of cleaning up the area.
I know it's mad. So under the nationalist rules that I'd have is that these people would have to learn English if we had any more immigration. But I don't want any more immigration. I said this many times. I don't want anyone coming in this country. And if we ever opened the immigration doors, I wouldn't be the first person to say we're okay. I'd be the last person to say it'd be okay, no matter what streets. I've said this many times. I'd be, like I said, 90% of the chat might say, well, we'll have immigration again. And I'd be like, no. We can't have immigration because our system is still old and messed up. People are still abusing this, that, and the other. The immigration system needs sorting out from the very bottom to the very top. And when I get Jamaican people who were born here, who've had to pay money for Windrush saying the same thing, I know I'm in my rights. I know I'm in my rights. Honestly. I mean, going into God, like, oh yes, good evening, Ralph. Good evening, sir. Going into the Lord and all that lot. Now, I'm not a practicing Christian. I've said this many times, but a lot of the values and stuff that got brought up with Christian values. I went to Sunday school and got taught by a fucking nun or something like that. Not a nun. It was a male. So whatever, he was in the Sunday school, and we did used to say a couple of prayers every now and then. The weddings we go to, I belt out when I go to a wedding and I go into a church. I'm not saying I know all the songs perfectly, but I'll belt them out as best I can. It's simple as that. I belt them out as best I can. I might not be a true believer in God, but I do believe that, like, the church can make a good community. The church is a centre point for being a community and stuff like that. And I mean, if we look at other religions, like say Islam, theirs is all built around their belief in the church, and they seem to have pretty strong communities. So, we should be doing that here. My grandniece doesn't believe in God, but I still take her to church and I still elbow her to sing, you know what I mean, and to get into it. I went to the Boys Brigade, which was linked to a church. Lots of things, a lot of the schools in Oldham are linked to churches here. What's the topic, Ralph? We're talking about immigration, a lot about Eastern European immigration, and I've had let me just get the see if I can find. I got a particular on me. I'll get the video up. You'll have to go and look at the comments. I'm going on about the Alderman. I just want to answer this guy back, and I have put the link in the comments on the video, and it's comments on that video, and it's about Oldham, and I'm driving in a car going on about the Glodick area of Oldham, which is a shithole and has been a shithole for a while. And he's called Mohammed Daniel or whatever, who's wrote it in, and I talked to him, but he's saying that we've achieved a lot, but we haven't. I just put up a link up to a school that cost 9 million to build, and no one's passed any GCSEs. Just the lack of integration in Oldham is shocking, and it's not just Oldham. I know that this goes on all over the country, mainly in the north where Labour have dominated, and Oldham's one example of dozens and dozens of examples of people failing to integrate into British society. And the nationalist side of me is screaming at this. It's screaming, and we'd give evidence and proofs of like we have to have. When Ralph, so when the other week I went to Liverpool to support a patriot, Kim, who'd been arrested, and the night before a fella was there till 12 o'clock, and he spoke to 3 different translators going into the police station. So they're going into the police station, translating for Eastern Europeans who are here for whatever reason, committing crime. I don't want these scum here. I don't want them here in the first place. Honestly, if someone let's just take a bit of a rule now. So if someone does come here as an immigrant and don't speak English, they've got a year to learn basic English, and that's giving them extra time. Should be able to learn basic English in 6 months. And if there's no failure, if there's no success in that first year, then they have to go. They've got to try and find out that anybody from with any kind of background from an Eastern European country should be able to learn basic English in less than a year. Basic English. Don't have to learn all the top words and all that lot. Obviously, I don't want to fund it myself. I'd rather they went to school and did it themselves or whatever. Plenty of times people have said to me, but they will eventually integrate. Yeah, they might do. But under the current climate, the way that we create these ghettos, the Labour Party, the lack of understanding of our political leaders of what goes on outside the bubble of London to live in, it's taking 4 or 5 times longer, and I'm not willing to wait that long. I'm not willing to wait that long. Certainly, if I went to another country, went to live there.
Put it this way, there is one thing for sure. If you went to another country, it wouldn't be paid for by that country to learn you their language. If you went to France, it wouldn't be the French people paying you to learn their language. As I tough, you pay for yourself. But we're not just here for free healthcare. We're not here for free education. We're actually teaching them how to speak our own language. Our language.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad.
Everything is done by free. And imagine it, that they can come here, they can go through our school system, they can learn our language, and then they can just go home. It's nuts.
It's not honestly, the nationalist side of me is screaming out. It's been a journey working out the kind of person I am. And I don't really believe in civic nationalism. I don't believe that a Pakistani man can be English. I don't believe that. He might think he's English the way he talks, right? But and obviously his ethnicity is not. There's no English in it at all. Obviously, I believe that I hold as much English values as the next man, even though I'm mixed race, and I have got an ancestry here, and I'm quite willing to say that, like in civic nationalism, David Lammy cannot be an Englishman. You know what I mean? Definitely not. It's a journey learning that what I think of other things. I never really thought of nationalism until like about 6-7 years ago. That I was thinking of nationalism. I looked at ethno-nationalism and stuff like that. And since the past couple of years now, I'm meeting more people and I'm coming on streams and stuff like that. I'm understanding more. I'm learning about demographics more. And I think demographics should be something that I should excel in, because I've talked about like the demographics around Oldham and Manchester and stuff like that. And so I should look more into that, but I'm certainly well on board with the nationalist side of things. It goes without saying. I agree with a lot that Mark Collette says. I'm a bit dodgy about repatriation, but then again, I've just said that I kick people out without even giving them money. So who's hardcore, Mark Collette or James or me? You know what I mean? Who's hardcore there?
Exactly.
You know, and then what? That's racist, and you're going on the side of the white man. Well, I'm not. I'm going on the side of what I believe to be best for my country, and that's what I think. And I have made mistakes, and I have said a few things wrong. I don't like fighting with people online. I don't like threats and stuff like that. But I have to respond sometimes. And this guy's called me a muppet on the post, and I haven't talked to him like that. And when you look at my videos and you look at a lot of my stuff, I don't talk to people like that. I just don't. You know what I mean? And I've got a video somewhere where I'm outside Leeds Crown Court, and there's two black lads going in, and I'm up there for Melanie Shaw, and I've not mentioned rape gangs or anything. And they've turned around and what are you doing here? What do you mean, what am I doing here? And I don't know whether it was on YouTube or it was on Facebook, but I've got another lad with me. I took another lad up with me, Paul O'Connor, respect to Paul O'Connor, wingman and backup. And in the video, when you see me start talking to these lads, he walks over a bit, because these lads sort of like stop and sort of like try and move forward a little bit. But he walks over because he's got me back. He just knows the situation. And they obviously think I'm doing something against them. And then someone in the chat says, who knows a lot about Leeds Crown Court, has looked at some of the stuff and said that they think that these lads are up for like gang charges, something like that. And I turned around and then he says, well, I'm going to take a picture of it. And I went, well, take a fucking picture of me. I'm not even talking about you, you cunt. You know what I mean? And, you know, like, fling your hook. You know what I mean? I'm going on about Melanie Shaw, and it's not even anything of colour. You know what I mean? And you see him walk over, and then I turn round, and sort of like under my breath, I'm looking back at my video on my YouTube, Facebook, and I go, scumbags. You know what I mean? And then everyone, and when my mates seen that afterwards, they couldn't stop fucking laughing, you know, far enough. But they attacked me for no reason. I weren't pointing at them. I weren't saying anything about anything of anybody of any colour. And these are the kind of people we've got in our country. I don't want them here. I really don't, honestly. If I'm wrong in saying that, then I'm wrong. But I don't want these people here. The crime, the gang crime in Oldham isn't just one particular ethnicity. The girl who attacked my the gang who attacked my sisters and this other girls was mixed ethnicity, I think white and mixed race, or white, mixed race and black. They weren't Islamic, but these are gangs going around in Oldham, and then like no one like wants to say anything or talk about it, or they're too afraid, you know, to talk about it. I'm not afraid. I'll tell them, mate. I'll tell them. Honestly, and obviously the my stabbing incident the other year, and that was by a 12-strong gang of 15 to 20-year-olds, and these are the people doing all the knife crime and murders across London, across the country. It's that age, and you'd think that like there would be a bit like, you know, like more brought up and stuff like that. And in my case, I proved that one of them, his crimes have been getting worse. And unfortunately, and I have to say this, even though there's white people involved in some of these gangs, the majority I see in the worst kind of cases are ethnic minorities. I have to be blunt about that. Certainly in Oldham, and definitely certainly in London. And it's an issue, but people won't say anything about it because oh no, you mentioned.
Do you think it's quite shocking that the fact you can't talk about the fact that the heinous crimes that are happening to our kids, and when you're bringing that up, and all of a sudden you're being classed as either racist or far right, when all you're talking about is the stuff that's clearly not being talked about. But when you're talking about a child that's been gang raped up and down the country, and you go out to a court in support of that, and you get a counter demo, how can you have a counter demo that you're protesting about the rape of children, but you get people on the left and they'll come up and they'll counter demo you? How? So are they saying they agree with what's happened? They must do, or else they will be standing with you.
We went to so I got stabbed 2018 August, and then the third week after that we went up to Huddersfield Magistrates, and there was a demo against a rape gang going on. So the lefties were all there, and there was like saying no to the EDL. You know, it wasn't one particular group of people there. You know, it weren't EDL people there. You know what I mean? I was there, and I'm not a member of the EDL, and I was there. And when I seen them, I'll see if I can find the video. I'm sure it's on YouTube. When I seen them, I fucking flipped. I went up, walking along the line. There's loads of police there, swearing, calling them scumbags, filth and all this lot, and I just couldn't believe they were there protesting against like me and others who'd come up. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure it was on YouTube, or it just done me head in when my Facebook got took down, because they had 3 years of videos all over the country, and it just got wiped off, man. Fucking, I hate them for it. I hate them. Right, come on, I've got to find the video. Right. I'm sure it was done on. Oh yeah, this is a one. This is a one. This is a one. When you get time, guys, just look at that video entitled Huddersfield. I'm looking at it now, and there's a line of protesters there. Are walking past them, swearing at them. Then the police come over. There's any chance you know, like you can like not swear? And I don't even were on camera at the time, but I went like that to the cop woman. You are. All these girls been raped, and you don't want me to swear. We've got people here protesting against the army here. And they went, there's no EDL here. We're just people. We're just like normal people. Oh, I fucking swear, honestly. It just makes me angry when I think about like what the lefties are like.
You know what? If you can't defend the children and you can't go out and protest against the rape of children, what can you do? You
I
know,
know.
surely you would. You know, the support would be welcomed by people what they're doing, but it isn't. It really isn't. They don't want you to highlight this stuff, but why? You know.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, over the rape gang thing and all that. Last year, I was thinking about how to go forward and you know how to demonstrate that, because I've done a few court things. I've been to Leeds Crown Court and all that lot, and you know we've had people protesting against the court. So how do we do it? I said, and I've talked to Mank Dave's in the chat. I was in the chat, Helen and some other people. And what I said is that what we need to do is go up, but with no colours and don't shout anyone's name, right? Because I want to see a change in what the report says after the case. So we went up on January the 6th, and people might not think it's a lot, but I think it's a big step, this, because I've never had this kind of attention. I've never had this kind of reply. So the next day when we looked in the papers, it said members of the public were there. Didn't say EDL, never said Tommy Robinson supporters, never said Britain for supporters, never said right wingers. It said members of the public, because I specifically went up with no colours and we said to everyone, we don't chant. I had Arlene and Diane read out some stuff, one from Rotherham and the other one to do with Victoria Agliolia. And I took certain words out, but I just read these things out. They were like victim things. And it said members of the public. That's what it said. And I thought that was a good step, because when people do see right wing and EDL, it obviously gives a negative effect on normal members of the public. But that's what they came out with, members of the public. They also looked into the rules of filming outside the court. And Tommy also put out that why didn't these people get arrested when I was doing the same thing? And a couple of them felt a bit betrayed when he did that. But I'd already explained to him beforehand that these are the boundaries that I want to test. You know what I mean? I want to push. And I said that before that, and it will happen soon, it'll get to the point where the police will say, if you don't stop doing that, you're going to get arrested. That's what they'll say to me. You know what I mean? So, and we're learning. So a few weeks later, they went up for the Crown Court appearance, and the police were dead firm, you can't cross this line filming people. Right? Now, under that situation, though, what I would have said to him, said, well, that doesn't just go for us, it does go for the media as well. That's what I would say. And obviously, the copper would have to say, yeah, it goes for the media as well, not just like members of the public. And so the next court thing we go to, they're going to say, you can't come across this line. And then the media go across the line. I'm going to go across that line straight away. I'm going to cross these lines and push these boundaries. And I said I was going to do this a while back.
That's the same. Because if you look at when Rolf Harris was in court, the world's media was there. They were on the court grounds. They were by the door. They were following him in. There was everywhere. There was, you know, all the public couldn't even get past him. They were asking awkward questions. You know, every case that this has happened to, that's happened. But, you know, and then when we do it, it's like, no, you can't do this on here. Well, why? You know, it's got to be equal. So yeah, if wherever the press are, if you stand next to them, how are they meant to stop you? Well, you're standing here. I am. You don't own this land. You haven't got it. You haven't got a permit to stand in that situation there. So I'm going to stand and point my camera exactly where you're pointing yours. Then tell me I can't do it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, and I mean, but fair dues though. I mean, like a couple of years ago, early on in the Melanie Shaw thing in Leeds, we got a whiff of some white lads who groomed a girl in Bolton. Yeah, and I've done I did a video, and on the video I said, you know, like, don't matter what colour you are, you mess with our kids, you're getting it. And I said, more so, you scumbags who were in Bolton, right? But I didn't have to do much further on that, because the local community and the people that these lads knew, these 6 lads knew, they ended up doing it. They ended up ostracising these lads. These lads can't even go around their own areas now without, you know, if they do, they'll be attacked. That you know, people know what they did and all that lot. I wish we had. I wish we had more that kind of community thing, you know, within our communities. I wish we had that, because I didn't have to do anything else. I said I was going to go down to Bolton, didn't have to. Apparently, when the lads went up at court, there was members of the public there screaming at them, and it never came on the news or anything. I only found this out through people on Facebook who'd seen my post about it, and they lived in Bolton, and they told me what was going on. And they said that the members of the public, the people in the area, were in uproar. That these people's families were shamed. You know what I mean? And the way I got it was that the families weren't entirely not guilty, because they knew what the lads had been up to, and you know, so they was like attacked as well. And fair enough, if you know that's going on,
yeah,
and you don't speak up, you don't say nothing, so whatever happens to you happens to you. I'm not gonna stick up for you if on that fact. But yeah, so it's just mad how we can't talk about these issues, or we get called names and stuff like that. But I am loving going to the court cases. I'm absolutely loving it. I took Dave, Mank, Rita, Helen were there, Brett, Paul, Diane, and Arlene, and every one of them loved it. You know what I mean? They loved it. They got first for it. And,
did he get him? Did he get a adjourn then, or is it this week?
The Amjad Ditta case, there's more charges going on them people. I definitely know that off a victim's family member who's been following the case. And but Amjad Ditta, the policeman, is having a separate private trial apparently over this. But there is more charges going on against that case. I think a lot of court cases now have been suspended. We've not found out when the Muslim Defence League are back in Crown Court, and as far as I know, they haven't been up. So I'm guessing their court case is going to be suspended. Whether I find out or not when they're up, I don't know. I'd like to, but I just don't know. But the other week, I went back to the second part of it, and a patriot from Stoke, Jamaican fella, he's come up from Stoke, he's seen it going on to come up, we've had a chat and all that, and he's even give his name forward to the solicitors who were defending the 8 white lads, and that he'll make a statement of what happened on the day, because he was there. And then we supported one of the lads' mothers were there, and I think she overheard us going on. And we stood up, me and this guy stood up and said, why aren't you letting us in the court? It's a public court. Or your case isn't up. And we're actually like, no, it doesn't matter. It's a public court. We can go in on any case. You know, and we stood up and said that to the guy. And the woman's looked at me. And when I talked to her, she's a mother of one of these lads. And Gretna Thunberg, John's 50%, Ralph's 25%. Ralph will go before John. Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah, you done, mate.
So I talked to her, and I know she lives in the area. She had no idea. Her son didn't have no idea what was going on. He just come out, and there was a group of them together, and they've arrested them all for one or two of them doing something wrong. And I just give her a bit of support, as in, listen, you're not on your own. I with her. And it's not all right for what happened. She understands about the Muslim Defence League will walk down right into the area. She absolutely understands that. So I talked to her and give her a bit of support. And then when we'd finished, alone, there's people who will stick up for you, and it's not your fault that you was put into that situation. You know what I mean? And I thought that was good. And when we talked to the mother, you know, like I think she felt a lot more. She just like she said she'd been fucking crapping it what was going on, and I don't think she realised how other people knew what was going on. The likes of me and all that lot. I said I do videos, watch me videos and all that lot, and you know, like look at me, and you know, wherever we can help you, we can help you. And the Jamaican guys gone to their solicitor, pulled him to the side. Listen, I want to give a statement because I was there and I could tell you how we was Brits and there was women and children there. We was put under this kind of pressure, and I want to back these lads up. That's what he said. I want to back these lads up. So little things like that do really good for me. They make me feel better, and I know that that woman would have gone away knowing that like there's people who's going to support her through what's happened. She admitted, she said her son's not an angel. That's what she said, but it wasn't his fault. He lives in that area, so why? It's not his fault that someone retaliated and he's been took as members of one large group of lads. So it was good, and so good positive things come down, and I'm always quite willing to talk to anybody, mate. Don't matter who they are and stuff like that. Yeah, repatriation stuff. I know it's just dodgy. I just don't like it when I hear forced repatriation. But like I just said, I don't want to give some people money, and I'd just kick them right off the White Cliffs of Dover, which is more hardcore than I've heard other expats saying. Honestly, I would. I'd just kick them all out. But that's just my own personal opinion. But you know, I'll abide by the rules that we have. And if the majority want it a certain way, as long as it's not dehumaning or they're not witch hunting people, I'll agree with it. I'll definitely agree with it. So, like I said, it's been funny just learning and learning the kind of person I am, building up to what I believe in, and more so the nationalist side. I should have that stamped across my head, nationalist. And it's been good talking to a lot of the people in the chat, interacting with people in the chat as well about what's going on. Rapists and killers, yeah, definitely those who committed crimes, they have to go. They have to go, although they shouldn't have been here in the first place, half of them. And so it's just been a journey. It's been a good journey. It's been hard work. It's been exciting. I do get some shit sometimes, but it don't really bother me. And I mean, I've learned a lot as well over the past few years, and that's made me definitely an expert door knocker. I know I can talk to members of the public and say the right things. I've proved that various times, and I'm a big believer of the vote because I mean, to the ethno-nationalists in the chat or the nationalists, right? We're never going to get anywhere unless we've got nationalist leaders in the parliament. At the moment, we can't even get the rape gang report put out, right? We can't even get the rape gang report put out. So how do we think we're going to change anything in the country until we change parliament or got more nationalists in the parliament, stuff like that? And nothing's going to happen till that happens. And even then, we're going to have a fight of the left and the liberal people against it. So there's loads of work to do before we even get to repatriation, isn't there? There's loads of work to do before we get to it. No, there isn't. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Jim Edwards was saying things like ban halal and kosher and like ban the burkini and things like that. That will stop people coming here and make people go. That there's a load of different ways, but I mean repatriation right at the end of the cycle. We've got to get out this European Union first. It's killing us,
Yeah.
you know. And grief is grief. I just want to mention this Corona thing. I'm loving it so far. Can't lie. It's nice. Streets are clean. Neighbours are helping each other, etc., etc. 100% agree with you. Joel spends a lot of time beginning of each week and at the weekends helping the elderly out around his area, such as his wife's parents. He's got some elderly friends who are like in the 60s and 70s. So he's been helping them out a lot. And today, while we're at work, he's said, John, can you hear them birds? The birds were tweeting, you know, there were hardly any traffic on the roads. It was really, today was really like opening day, like how peaceful everything is and nice. And like I said, neighbours helping each other. On Saturday, we went to do some work, and a couple of neighbours come out from other side. They were helping other people, and we always help the people we go to, especially if they're elderly. And we'll always just put that. And lately, when we've been going around to the elderly people, we've said, if you need anything doing, there's our number, ring us and we'll sort it out for you. If you need us to pick you anything up that's heavy, right, like that you can't carry yourself, just let us know. And loads of people have been doing this in the area where we work. So it's been really nice to see that, really nice to see. We do. So until we get nationalists in Parliament, I can't see us going down the nationalist route. I can't, because none of them are nationalists. Boris Johnson isn't a nationalist. And there's only a couple of people who are like nationalists, but there might be some who feel nationalist, but they won't say anything under the current climate. So there's just loads of work to do. There is absolutely loads of work to do. But we'll see. But it's been interesting. It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. I want some more likes. There's only 20 ups and for watching. I have had one down, but I don't know who that's on.
Jihadis they are.
But yeah, it's been a pretty good chat. I've enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah, it's been good, mate.
Thanks for everyone's nice comments and all that lot. I just want to do the best I can for the country I live in. And I mean, so like people who like the people at Speaker's Corner, but honestly, I've heard them say that mixed race people that are the wrong mix, or they don't know where they stand or anything. So even though I'm half Jamaican, why do I have to stand with a full Jamaican when I've not even been to Jamaica or lived there? When I've been born and raised in England, I understand my ethnicity, I understand where I come from, and I'm not going to pick any other country over England. I won't. It's going to be England is going to be first. Great Britain is going to be first for me, obviously. I've even found out I've got some Irish blood in me, so I need to do some research there, look to where it comes from, and start doing stuff about Ireland and try and focus and see if I can learn a bit more about what's going on in Ireland off other people. Maybe I might even be able to find some relatives over there, because it's not that long ago. I don't think that the Irish come in about, I'm sure it's like 60, 70 years ago into our bloodline. So maybe I should look down that route eventually, try and find a bit of heritage and my bloodlines in Ireland, and then find out. I don't know whether it's South or Northern Ireland or anything. I don't know where it lies. And Great Britain as a whole, we're under pressure, not just England. Ireland's under pressure. You look at Gemma Doherty, Niall. Where? Just let me get his name. I was trying to find his name. So there's Gemma Doherty doing a lot over there. And there's another guy I've been watching his videos. Niall, can't remember his second name. Oh, fuck's sake. I'll get it before I get on next time. But yeah, so maybe look at, but yeah, Great Britain. I don't think we really need all our Great Britain together. I don't want to feel that we're separated from any particular area, even though Scotland. If we come together, then we can make all our countries better. We can grow better. We can be economically and everything, and socially we can be strong. And I quite believe that. Obviously, England will always come first, but I would like a united Great Britain in the end, under nationalist rule. Definitely under nationalist rule, I'd like that. But yeah, so yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a good one. Thanks for listening to me drop along. You can look at a lot of the links I put up. Do them. Niall O'Connell, that's the one. Steph, that's the one. I know the Irish are a bit different. Some believe in other things and some believe in other, but a lot of the Irish, they want their own. They want their own national island back. They're being invaded. We've had Ballymena and several other towns flooded with immigrants, which is increasing crime. Rape statistics are all up. They're struggling over there, and if they get seriously affected, I can't see why not that effect is not going to overflow into us, because it's part of Great Britain. So we should be looking at the other parts of Great Britain to make sure they're strong enough, so we know we can do overall and work overall. But yeah,
it is gonna have to come to a head at some point, because it's getting to the point where every country's suffering.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned in Ireland, they've got a massive problem. I mean, they haven't got the land or the people to soak up the amount of people going there. So the only way to do it is to turn it into a nationalist country. You're going to have to do it. There's no other way of doing it. This liberal idea where everyone can, no borders and no nothing. Well, look what it's doing to it. It just does not work. We're not big enough to take every single migrant or whatever you want to call them from everywhere around the world. It's just too much. It's not feasibly possible. And how you can integrate tens of thousands of people in one go and expect everything to be fine is madness.
It is. Don't forget though. Don't forget. I mean, like we've had refugees here under the Dubs agreement. If you want to look it up, Dubs agreement. We couldn't test the age of these kids, these so-called kids coming over. They wouldn't even allow us to do dental checks and stuff like that. When we knew that these so-called kids, some of them were adults, and they were being put into schools that were way beyond where they should have been and stuff like that. Honestly, you just can't make it up. And when we look at Europe, the attacks in Europe, about a majority of the attacks in Europe have been from people who are recent immigrants. Even though we've had homegrown bombers here, like the London 7/7 bombers, they were all homegrown, but the majority of attacks across Europe are coming from these refugees. And I remember when ISIS first came on the scene, I remember them saying that, and the news said this, that they're going to flood jihadis in with the refugees, and they've done nothing to stop it. They've done nothing at all to stop it. It's just unbelievable. Right. I'm going to have something to eat.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Street.
No worries at all, sir. Much appreciated as always. Good stream.
No worries. Thank you in the chat. Thank you, everyone. A lot of nice stuff and all that. Thank you very much, honestly. Respect to you all. I'm on Wake Up UK Wednesday. Should be an interesting show. Someone wants to know my nationalist views. I'm going to tell them quite hardcore, actually, what I think. And I'll show them the evidence and all that lot. It's probably not going to make me very popular with certain camps, but that's how I feel. And I just want people to remember that, like, obviously I've got lots of friends, I've done stuff with other people, but I came into this on my own after being seriously disturbed, mainly from that Rotherham incident it started, and I've been furious since then, and I made the step of coming in on my own. I've met loads of brilliant people, fantastic people along the way, right up to now. I'm meeting people all the time. It's been great, and that kind of support has given me a bit more extension. I've travelled. I am a bit tired, Sonia. I didn't realise I'd lost an hour's sleep, actually, and I sort of like didn't have too much last night, and I am a bit tired, and we've done a good job today. So, but yeah, thank you, Timmy, Space Hopper, Mark, Indigenous. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Fee, Sonia, everyone else in the chat, Grief, Steph, everyone watching. Thank you, Greta Thunberg, Aunt Sally. Oh, Aunt Sally, thank you, love. Thank you. And Deborah, thank you, everyone. Thank you. And I'll check you all soon. I'm on Wednesday, Wake Up UK. I'll do a stream on Thursday, probably on my channel. I don't know. I'll try and get somebody on, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. When the show nearly ends, but it doesn't, you go on for 2 more hours. James is always going on. About that first one I did on your about 5 hours summer.
Yeah, it was about 5.5 hours.
It goes on about it all the time, and I'm like, no, Jim, you do more at a time than me. And but yeah, thank you, everyone. Okay, good night, and I'll see you all soon, Street. Thanks, mate.
No problem. God bless, my friend. See you later.